Good morning, everyone. Bill here with KB Trucks. It is day number 6 of the Great Minnesota Get Together, Minnesota State Fair. It is a cooler day. It's about 60 degrees, but feels wonderful. Kind of amazing. We've had some great weather for the State Fair this year. We have yet to get a record for admission yet. I don't know about yesterday. It was a busy day, but we'll see. It is Tuesday, which tends to be one of the slower days of the fair when it comes to admission. We'll see how that goes, particularly with the cooler weather. But if you've been watching the little format we have here, at least on the weekdays, I've got some work to do, and then we can go play. It's going to be a busy day for work, so I'm not sure how long it's going to be until I can actually get to go explore. But we'll see how that goes. It's about 8:15 a.m. and you can tell it looks a little bit on the lighter side already, at least compared to yesterday. As I go around the same spot, I'm going to go through Dan Patch Park. Today it is Military Appreciation Day. I want to thank the vets out there for what they did or what they've done. And in the park here, again, this rotates every day for a different theme. Along with Military Appreciation Day, if you came out on today and you were in the military or are in the military, you can get discounted tickets. So along here you can learn about the different branches of the military and talk to vets, the information about that thing. And then again, up on the stage they rotate presentations throughout the day. And it looks like right now there might be some sort of radio program or podcast happening on the main stage.
3 hours later.
I am still working, but I'm going to take a lunch break. I got the turkey to go sandwich. That turkey to go, this is a half-pound sandwich that is $15. This is one of my favorite things to get at the fair, so I'm just going to go ahead and give this a 5 because, well, it's really something like the best turkey sandwich I can get, and it's juicy, perfect. I wish I could get this all year round.
3 hours later.
Can you move it along? I'm all out of time cards.
Okay, I think I'm done working for the day, so let's go have some fun. I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to go, but we're going to find something. I'm going to walk East Stone Carnes, and you can tell it's a little bit lighter today. Yesterday, they came out with the numbers from yesterday. We had a record attendance for the first Monday of the fair, but today it seems a little bit on the lighter side. Gonna walk past Dan Patch Park again. Again, Military Appreciation Day. There's a live band performing right now. I'm gonna go up the ramp for the grandstand. I'm not exactly going to go into the grandstand, but I just wanted to see what it looked like from up here looking down. Around the fairgrounds, you might run across these selfie spots. And so from here, it looks like you can do the grandstand in the background. Or we're gonna turn 180. And there's a mural over there for the Star Tribune. A little bit higher up on the ramp to the grandstand. Gonna get a view looking down onto Dan Patch Park. You can see a little bit of crowd again. Not too heavy today. And once again, Dan Patch Park rotates throughout the week with every day different theme. Looks like there's some sort of a hockey shootout thing happening over there. Let's go look at the other side of the grandstand off the ramp. And see, yeah, definitely a little less crowd today. Tuesday and the Wednesday of the fair are usually the lowest crowds from what they've said historically. Let's head back down. So speaking of the grandstand, if you come along the wall here, you can see history about the grandstand and some interesting facts. For instance, Dan Patch was actually a racing horse who set a world record time here at the racetrack at the grandstand back in 1906. They also had like auto races. They don't do either of that anymore at the grandstand. And more facts as you walk down. So this is 1910 to 1939. So it says the first airplane flight was in Minnesota was actually held at the grandstand in 1910. And in 1910 and 1912, Teddy Roosevelt visited the state fairgrounds. And it looks like the last year of the 1 mile racetrack was in 1939. There's some more facts from 1940 to 1959. And from the 1960 to the present. So come check these things out. Tell you what, I'm on a little bit of a history kick at the moment. So we're gonna go to the West End markets. So this is the West End Market. A few years ago, I think it was a decade now, they remodeled this. It was Heritage Square, but they still have a couple remnants of Heritage Square kind of hanging around here. Let's go into the History and Heritage Center. So this is where we can learn a little bit of the history of the State Fair. One of the first things you see when you come in this display here, this is what it looked like for the ticket takers and sellers when you first walked in. So, like this cash box is from 1933, and there was a ticket dispenser from the 40s, and that's how it was like. Was it really 5 cents back then? Wow. This is a 1998 version of Fairchild costume. They got a couple other things that Fairchild had worn. Got a bow tie and some sunglasses. This is a hat that he wore back in '88. Here's some buttons from the State Fair. It could have been giveaways or things that people sold. This is a map of the fairgrounds from 1934. If you look here, the yellow or orange, I should say, buildings are the only ones that are still here anymore. If you look around the top here, they have some historic dates when it comes to the fair. So the very first fair was in 1859. It was held in Minneapolis, and then it went to an 8-day fair in 1919. In 72, it went to 11 days, and then in 75, it went to 12 days, which is the length of the fair now. And for the first couple years of the fair, it rotated a little bit. So like it was in Red Wing, in Rochester, Minneapolis. And it wasn't until 1885 that they had the first state fair on the fairgrounds here in St. Paul. Throughout the building too, they have these little displays on the wall. And actually these things rotate. So if you go over here, you can, and this is how they use the space. You can rotate this to get more information. This is from a view that's south from the State Fair from 1936. If you look here, you can still see that there's the Grandstand is right here. And then if you look at this archway here, they used to have a light rail, or a trolley, I should say, not light rail, trolley that came here. And so that was the entrance for where the trolley came in. And this archway, they put back a few years ago when you come in from the buses. That's the archway that you walk underneath when you come into the grounds. They got a couple of sections around here. So over here is about concessions and other exhibits and other entertainment. Comes around the corner here. So this focuses on entertainment. And this wall is talking about the competition. So seed art or livestock, whatever the case is, baking. For instance, they're talking about the seed art, and this is an example. This was a Kirby Puckett seed art. They used to give out trophies and cups. So some of these are from, like, let's see, the one big one here in the middle is from 1889. These smaller ones are from 1915 and 1916. Some of these displays have some things like costumes that are worn or props that were used. And some of the entertainment performances have things about Midway, so they got some photos of rides that you could have ridden back in the day. Here's something that's interesting to think about. Our state fair is old enough that it was canceled in 1861 and 1862 due to the Civil War and the Dakota War. I mean, kind of a penny version of what's in here. A lot of cool stuff. Come check out. Also, if you need to get out of the sun for a little bit and cool off, good place to go. We're going to go out the side door here. Out here, this is more what's left over from the Heritage Square. They have this log cabin that was there that's still here. Can't go in here. I have no idea if there's anything inside. But here you can read a little bit about the log cabin and other things that are landmarks from the Heritage Square, including this windmill that was originally here. Something else that can be easily missed over here is if you go to the west of the West End to the amphitheater and you go to the right, you can't go up there, but you can still see it. They still have an old railroad car that's been there for, I have no clue, and a caboose back there. I don't know if you can ever have access to that or not, but it's still kind of interesting to see. I remember that being here way back when this was Heritage Square. Let's go back to the front of the History Building. So we're going to go around the corner of the History Building and we're going to go up to the entrance. So we're going to go between the Blue Barn and the History and Heritage Center. So if you remember a minute ago I was talking about the entrance that people went under when they came here on the streetcar. Well, this is that sign, that archway that you would go under when you arrived from the streetcar. They had it on the property, but they had it off to the side for years, got all rusted and all that stuff, and a few years ago they decided to fix it up, and they put it here at the entrance from where the buses drop off. Let's stay on the history kick for a little bit. When you walk around the fairgrounds, you can find these markers, and you can do a walking tour while you're at the fair. They have these few places around the fair, and at the base of them, you can get a brochure. So you can just reach in here and grab one of these things. And then there's also a hole puncher so that you keep track of which ones you've been to. These will rotate every year. They'll pick a couple different locations. This year it looks like there's 12 locations around the fair that you can go to. And there's one of those photography tricks that I really enjoy. So if you look here, this place looks really crowded because I have a condensed shot where I'm zoomed in, and the distance there you can see the crowd coming through. But if I zoom out, you can get the feeling here that it's definitely not as crowded as it might have seemed in that other shot. So just kind of like a little cool camera trick, giving you some of the tricks of the trade here when it comes to photography. Tell you what, I'm liking this history theme. Let's continue. We're going to go into the Coliseum next. Hey, outside the Coliseum is another one of those locators. It looks like you can learn about the Coliseum here. I just came inside the front main entrance of the Coliseum. Right now they're going through renovations, and they're talking about the reservations here on the wall. So there's a building on this site, and the Coliseum replaced that in 1951. And part of the renovation is they're getting a new roof and electrical system. And in this area they do have some history about the Coliseum, and they got some photos to go along with things. Gonna go around to the other side of the entrance. There's a little barrier between. So yeah, here's some historic photos of some of the competitions around. This looks like that might be from the old building. You can't tell. It looks like a second level. Okay, this is the National Dairy Show in 1921. So I don't think that was here because it says Minneapolis. This is an old water wagon. I'm not sure if they use this to like feed the horse and cattle and all that things, but you can come see this thing. More historic photos. These cows, they look like they're short to the ground. Isn't that interesting? I don't know what the story is with that. I'm just kind of wandering around, going through another partition to another area. Some more historic photos. Oh, this looks like had something to do during a winter show in 1937, it appears. Oh, I'm going to talk about the crowds again. It is incredibly light for traffic in here right now. This is insanely light for the Coliseum. Oh, this is interesting. As part of the renovation, you can get a personalized arena seat inside. If you are curious about getting your own seat named after you in the Coliseum, it is at $800. And that's what it's going to look like when they put your name or message on there. I'm just going to walk east down Judson, over by that adventure park, which is where they have those new rides, or the big rides going. Those cost whatever to ride. Oh, I'm going to go up, let's see, on the right up here is the dairy barn, and on the left is that one big French fry stand, and farther up, we'll get there. I'm enjoying this history theme. Right now we are in Underwood, across from the Horticulture building, and we're going to go over here. There's actually a couple of museums, other museums, other than the one at Heritage Square, or Heritage Square, the West End Markets. There's a couple other museums on site. So there's the Historic Museum for the Minnesota Territorial Pioneers. Let's go see what this has. It looks like a log cabin. Looks like some tools that they would use out on the range. Going to go into our first room. Looks like a old horse-drawn buggy and a loom. Next to this thing, they have a old school license plate from 1849 in this case. Wow. Looks like they got like a library type setup in the back corner. It's my first time actually in here looking around. In the corner they got some muskets and guns. This looks like some Civil War era things, like a bullet pouch. These look like things that you might have if you were, showing things off, like lady hat pins and other pins that you might wear. Well, there's a pair of glasses, things for your hair. Here's some early maps of Minnesota, and there's an early map of Minneapolis. This area looks like it's set up to represent a schoolhouse, so you got the desk And like that would be the teacher's desk with the quill pens. I think back there it looks like it could be a stylish looking oven or what am I trying to say, stove that would keep the room warm, piano. There's another sized log cabin. Let's go across. This kind of looks like it's set up like a general store on the one side at least. On the other side looks like there's some antique looking furniture. That area looks like a lounge type area. And then over here looks more like a kitchen type area. A small table for you to eat at. And then there's the stove. Usually it's wood that you would use to heat up your home and your food. This is an old coffee mill, so they would put the coffee in the top here and then spin these things by hand to mill your coffee. A couple items here that you would find at the general store. The general store just had like everything in it. Sometimes it would also have the post office in there too. You know, you can do mail order type things for the more high-end type of things, but you can buy lamps or coffee pots, shoes, clothing materials to make your own clothes. Those are smaller versions of coffee mills so that you could have a much smaller thing in your house. The other thing would be more like if you're buying in bulk. It looks like you can buy some souvenirs in here too. Like they got some ornaments and magnets, note cards, postcards. That's interesting. In front of the sign here, if you wanted to mail a postcard or a letter, you can do so in here. I'm not even looking for those locators, but there's one talking about the military at the fair. This is across from the International Bazaar, between the International Bazaar and the Horticulture Building. I'm really on this history kick. So let's keep going. We're going to go over by the Space Tower next. There's the Space Tower. We're going to make a turn here though. We're going to go this way and we're going to go check out the Bailey House. So the Bailey House here was the residence for the State Fair greenhouse superintendent and groundskeeper. They would stay here throughout the year to take care of everything. They don't need to do that anymore, but this is now an office. Next to the Bailey House, there is the Friends of the Fair Pavilion. So if you have a bench that was named after somebody, or a tile, or a brick, or whatever, you can actually go in here and they can tell you where you can find it in case you forgot or you just weren't sure. Because some of the benches and things move around, or maybe your memory doesn't serve right. But they do have bricks down here in the front that at one point that you could thing, just much like the tiles or the benches. And on the other side of the Bailey House, this is the greenhouse. Again, the public doesn't really have access to that, but that's where they keep the plants, going throughout the winter to keep everything alive, and then will go, plant them throughout the ground so everything looks beautiful. Let's go around the corner. So this is the road that the Creative Activities building is on, and it'll go parallel with Snelling. We're going to go over here to the band shell. In front of the band shell, that's where you can find the big gopher. So that's a good place to get your selfie while you're at the state fair. And we're going to continue north for our next stop on our little history tour. We're going to go north on Cosgrove. Cosgrove goes parallel with Snelling, so Snelling is off to my right. For our next stop, we're going to go to the 4-H building, but we're not going to go into the 4-H building. On the outside, they have a couple of places, and we are actually going to go to the Minnesota Newspaper Museum. This is one of the other museums that is on site. So the Minnesota Newspaper Museum has actually been on the property for decades. It used to actually be over where the West End Market is when it was Heritage Square, but they moved over here when they remodeled about a decade ago. And outside you can learn about a little bit about an important journalist from Minnesota. Let's go inside. And when you go in here, they have a couple machines that they've applied for electronics, to electricity. A lot of these used to run off of gas power way back when. So in the back here, these are called linotypes. And so they would type out a line at a time to be printed. So a linotype would come out as one of these, a line, a print, and then they would stack them to print them. So a linotype, the way it would work was they would type out the message, and then they would print it in lead, and then they would stack it with the lead words. And this is actually a thing of lead. So they'll use the lead to make a thing, and then when they're done with it, they'll melt it down. and reuse it. And when they printed the pages, they would actually print everything backwards. So all the letters are backwards because when you printed it, it would come out the correct way to read it. And so like this machine, they would put the plates in there and then they would be inked and then they would print one side at a time and then would flip all the papers and do the other side. And then the machine over here would fold the paper. So they would put the paper on there and they would feed into the machine and they would fold it a couple times and then come out the bottom. And newspapers also had other printing, you know, because the way how they would also make their money is printing things like banners or posters or postcards or whatever. And so these machines could do a color. And you can see the machine there that it is reapplying the color as it goes and for the print. And so she's putting in a little card there. She's doing this one by hand. So the ink goes on the roller goes onto the plate, and the plate presses onto the paper. Oh, this is amazing. Look at how low the crowd is today. What a fantastic day to be here. You can see pavement. That's an accomplishment there when it comes to coming on a light day. I'm going to make my way back down south, but one place I want to stop here, kind of show you. This is the 4-H building on the south side. This is just kind of like a nice little calm place to go. They got a little garden here. You can see people taking photos along here, but there's something else I wanted to show you. If you go back behind here, I just discovered this the other day. So this is a side entrance to the 4-H building, but across there they have a meditation and prayer tent. So if you need a quiet place to go, that's available. As I'm walking back south along Cosgrove, this is the Cosgrove stage. Right now they got some ballroom dancing going on for the demonstration. This is outside of the education building, kind of between the education building and the creative activities building. Man, what a fantastic day to be at the fair. Weather's fantastic. The crowds are not that bad. It is so beautiful out here. Tell you what, we're going to make one more stop here. We're going to go into the University of Minnesota building. And here we can learn a little bit about the history of the University of Minnesota, not just here in the Twin Cities, but also the other campuses around the state. And here you can also find a couple of the trophies that the U of M at least currently has. Got cheerleading and a dance team. And here's the big axe that goes between Minnesota and Wisconsin. And on the side there you can see the dates and the competition, who won. This goes back to 1890. A couple more trophies on the other side, including Duke's Bowl and the Big Ten Men's Ice Hockey Championship for 2025. All right, I'm going to make my way out of the Minnesota State Fairgrounds for day number 6. After this point, we're officially halfway to the end of the Minnesota State Fair 2025. I've been enjoying it so far, but it's been going by pretty fast. Thanks for joining me for my little history tour. I was completely not planning that, so I'm sure I might have missed something. But what else is here at the fairgrounds that I might have missed, particularly about the history or whatever at the fairgrounds or about the fairgrounds? Leave a comment. But hey, please do favor and subscribe. About 90% of our viewers are not subscribers. Help the channel grow, help us reach our next goal of 2,000 subscribers. I will be back tomorrow, Wednesday, for day number 7, the halfway mark for the state fair. Looking forward to that. Not sure what I'm going to do. I got work to do. Actually, I do have a plan. I take that back. But anyway, I want to thank you for joining us. I'm Bill. You've been watching KB Trucks. Do us a favor, like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you soon. Until then, good luck and have fun.